You know what drives me crazy, Sherry? All those synthetic additives in pet food.
Yeah, I know. I love, though, that Northwest Naturals took the initiative and cut out synthetic vitamins completely from their foods.
Exactly. It's all whole food ingredients, nothing outsourced, nothing sketchy.
And everything's made in their USDA human-grade facility, start to finish, all in-house. I saw it for myself when I took a tour of their manufacturing plant in Portland. I was blown away by them processing meat for human consumption that was going to be sent to grocery stores right alongside the pet food.
Right? Like, that's unheard of. And that's the Northwest Naturals difference. Real food you can actually trust.
See it for yourself at nw-naturals.net.
And right now, Northwest Naturals is offering an extra 5% on GAP ISOs for current clients, plus an extra 5% on any new ISO if you're a new client.
Just use the promo code PetShopGirls.
The trade. Pet Shop Girls, unleash your power, let's make some waves.
Hey everybody, I'm Sherry.
And I'm Carly.
Welcome back to the Pet Shop Girls podcast. Today we're talking about something that Carly is super good at and I'm not super good at. And my guess is a lot of pet store owners aren't super good at either, because Carly has a background in training adults. She is an expert, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say.
Well, I'm excited to hear what you have to say, because I keep telling you, you are probably better at this than you think you are. Now, I will mention, kind of like we were talking about before we started recording, that there are lots of people out there that are amazing at what they do, but they may not be amazing at teaching other people how to do what they do. And that's okay, as long as you kind of have an understanding of different training methodologies. We're going to talk about that. But also, I think the most important thing for all pet pros, any business owner, is keeping training top of mind. If you're always looking for ways to impart knowledge, share knowledge, make sure your team is knowledgeable. When your team is trained, your team can train your customers. And that is where you get word of mouth.
So that's where I kind of fall short sometimes. Like, we go through kicks of where my staff is really good at doing some small lessons here and there that I've assigned to them. But I've had the same people for a while, which is a good thing. Mm-hmm. And now we've kind of dropped off on our continuing education. So I know you've got some tips for me, though.
Well, and I think that learning should occur every day. So even if it's as simple as asking your veteran employees, what did you learn today? Tell me one thing that you learned today. And I don't care if it's that, you know what, I didn't know that the till paper ran out, or I don't care what it is. If we should be trying to learn something every day. I think a big hurdle for so many pet pros and business owners and businesses, huge corporations, when times are tough, the two things that get cut and the two things that should never get cut is training and advertising, because they're looked at as soft skills. Now, There is an old meme out there, and maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, but the financial officer in the company asks the CEO, what happens if we invest in developing our people and then they leave the company? And the CEO answers, what happens if we don't and they stay?
I love that quote.
So the whole thing there is you don't want untrained people on your floor. If you think back to episode 100, when we chatted with Rodney, what did he say was that thing that could immediately break or instill trust in your customer? It was your team. Mm-hmm. That's what he talked about, right? Your team. So if your team is untrained, if your team is unaware, if your team is not knowledgeable, people notice, and you may not get a chance to let them know that, whoa, actually we do know things, just not that person doesn't know the things. Like, we can't do that, right?
Yeah, what do they say? Your team is only as strong as your weakest player.
As your weakest link, yeah. a friend of mine, she lives in another province. We were just talking the other day, and she was in her local pet store, and they just hired. So she was kind of telling me the story. They had this girl that was there for a very long time, and my friend said, like, if she knew things, I don't know if she did or not, because she wouldn't help. She was just very pointy. Like, you'd ask something, she'd be like, it's over there, and she'd wave you away. And so now she's gone, and which is probably a good thing. But she was there for quite a while, and that was the service that she was providing. 2 new girls hired, they're young girls, and my friend asked the one girl a question, and so my friend was telling me what her answer was, and I said, okay, let me just correct that a little bit, because she almost got it, but she missed the mark. But what my friend was really impressed about was you could tell that she cared. And she continued to tell my friend, I'm so sorry. I'm nervous, and I just want to make sure I get this right for you. But she cared, and she had learned some things, but she was brand new, right? And so whether we're new employees or we're seasoned employees, there is always something to learn in pet. And we know that, like, no matter how long you've been in business, Sherry, 17 years. 17 years.
I'm 19
oh yeah,
years
19 years. I keep forgetting how ancient you really are.
But no, I tell my staff all the time, like, look, if I haven't learned something in a day, I don't feel like I did the right thing. Like, we should all be learning something every day. So
training for me is a bit of a passion. I love seeing those aha moments, and I love being able to take kind of what most people would look at as maybe complex information, but breaking it down into those pieces where somebody goes, oh, I get it now.
Right, because everybody learns differently. And that's where I've run into some issues where I thought I explained something very clearly to somebody, but they didn't hear the same thing as what I was saying.
Well, okay, so there's an old school theory around learning, and that's that some people are visual learners, some people are auditory listeners, and some are learners, and some people are doers or whatever. There is updated science around this, and there's kind of like, there's 4 different learning styles that maybe do have some of those elements of, I like to listen, I like to read, I like to watch video. But it goes deeper than that. And if we're, as pet pros, if we are offering a variety of training tools, and I want to be very specific about this does not mean that you as the pet pro has to sit down and create, like, take months of your life or years of your life to create this official, professionally produced training content. It does not mean that. I tell my guys when they come into the store, I've got 1,000 ways for you to learn. However you like learning best is the way you can do it. If you like to listen, I've got a podcast called Tip the Dish. Go listen. If you like to read, I've got blogs, on our website that you can read. If you like short form content, I've got TikTok and Instagram Reels. Go watch a 90-second video on why we recommend bone broth. If you like to actually do that formal training, I've got the platforms for you to do that. Or you'd rather read a paper book? I've got books on pet nutrition. So I can appeal to all of the different senses, because I also understand that in some of our shops, they're very small teams. Ideally, when I'm training a group of people, my perfect number is 16 people in the class. It just works best for everything that I like to do. But I don't train 16 people at a time in my store. I train 1. So I want to have all of those different ways that appeal to different types of learning styles in order to make sure that the information sticks. Can they read a blog on bone broth and watch a video and listen to a podcast? Yep. So I got 3 different ways that I'm hammering home the information about bone broth. And then they're going to listen to me in store as well, because that's a teaching moment. So when you've got new people coming onto your team and they're in your hip pocket, listening to the way you talk to your customers, that's training. What we should do as pet pros is when that customer leaves, turn around and say to new Johnny, who's on the team for his first day, do you have any questions about what we talked about? Yeah, actually, why did you say this? That's a teaching moment. Like, everything's a teaching moment.
Right.
So I just think, I think that training overwhelms pet pros because they think it has to be so official. But
Yes.
guess what? In 50 ways to train your team, slip out the back, Jack. Make a new plan, Stan. You don't need to be coy, Roy.
Just listen to me.
Just train your team. We have got, okay, so, sorry, you guys, I couldn't help it. 50 ways to train your team. How can I not sing that?
I can't, I can't sing. And I really like that song too. So I had to join in.
Well, it's not like I can sing over here. I just, poor Zaner, he has to listen to me sing all the time. But the 50 ways to train your team, obviously, we're not going through 50 ways to train your team on this podcast. What we have done.
That would take a long time.
It would take a long time. But they are very quick. I did put together 50 different ways that maybe don't even seem like you're training, but they are. So like, for example, let your staff test products on their own pets. That is learning. When they go home and they're like, oh my God, he really does love bone broth. I've been now using bone broth for 6 months or whatever it is, and his tear stains have cleared up. When they're using those products, though, that's where I'm saying, now come back and tell the other members of my team, what did you learn about that? Why do you love it for your dog? Or what was your dog's response? Take it one step further. Get them to make a social media post about why their dog loved bone broth so much. The more that they get that repetition, the more they understand, the more confidence they have, the more they will be able to talk to your customers and train your customers. And then that word of mouth spreads. So I think we've hammered to death why training matters.
I think we all know that we need to do it. I think that we struggle with the structure and how to do it and when to do it and all that, And
I'm like a kid in a candy store right now, so I'm bouncing all over the place. I started off with the quote from the CFO who was questioning the cost of training. He is not looking at it as an investment, right? When we make that investment in our people, it will pay back in dividends because our people will be able to educate our customers. But also the 50 ways to train your team that are not necessarily that formalized classroom instruction with the content that you've taken months and years to build. That I have that all documented for exclusively for our Substack members who are part of our Substack community. All I want that to do is twig your imagination to go, oh, tweak, sprig. What's the word?
I don't know, but I like twig.
Twig your imagination so that you're going, oh, you know what? I never even thought of spark. There you go. But, maybe it is that simple as I've never thought about sending my employees home with a supplement for their dog so that they could see the benefits firsthand and then come back and talk about their own experiences.
For sure.
Sherry, I just saw a stat that blew my mind, and it's about poop bags. Can you believe 500 million poop bags per year end up in the landfill worldwide?
That's crazy, Carly. But that's why I love Greenline poop bags. They're the only poop bags that have been tested and proven to break down even in landfills, not on your shelf.
Right? I hate when poop bags expire. Like, what? Greenline delivers premium pet products without the premium price tag because toilet paper for tails should break down, not break the bank.
And get this, they have poop bag holders that are handmade from upcycled old festival banners that are one-of-a-kind pieces of art. You'll love them as soon as you see them. Talk about zero waste and real creativity.
Oh, and I love that. They're functional, beautiful, and sustainable. And every purchase gives back. Greenline is a member of 1% for the Planet and donates 1% of every sale to real grassroots nonprofits protecting our planet.
So every roll you sell or every pouch you stock, you're giving Mother Earth a little hug. Greenline Pet Supply, eco-savvy products for pets and their planet-loving parents.
Learn more about this amazing woman-owned U.S. company making the greenest poop bag on the planet by visiting greenlinepetsupply.com.
And don't forget to mention promo code PetShopGirls for 10% off your first order. You mentioned methodologies. What are some methodologies for training?
I would say that if we were looking at, building out that formalized content, what I do, and I am not expecting anybody else to do this. Like I was certified as a trainer. So this is why I learned all of these things. But it is something to keep in mind. And the methodology that I use, and I try to incorporate this into whether it's my training videos or whether it's training that I'm doing with my staff in person, is if it's a more complex subject, it's what's called ERGA. So that's ERGA. ERGA stands for experience, reflect, generalize, and apply. So at a very high level, what this means is the first part of my training should try to engage. This is the experience. All adults have experience in life. Let's draw on those. So if we can engage the senses somehow through our experience, they will remember that. I'm going to give you a very bad example that has nothing to do with pet. If I was teaching you how to do an oil change, okay? I don't know how to do an oil change, but if I was teaching you how to do an oil change and I had 2 cups of coffee on the table for you, one was from 4 days ago. It had grit, maybe a piece of paper towel in it and some dish soap. And then one was really fresh. And I asked you to try both of those or at least smell them. Obviously, the fresh coffee would be much more appealing than the 4-day-old coffee with dish soap in it. What I'm trying to do is engage your senses and then tie that into the fact that when we don't change our car's oil, they start to feel like that 4-day-old cup of coffee. Sluggish, gross, icky, right? We want fresh coffee in the vehicle. So that's an idea around engaging the senses. When I move to the reflection phase of training, this is where I want you to look back as an adult on your past experiences or the experience I just provided you so that you can start to kind of see the difference between those 2 cups of coffee. When we move into generalization, this is maybe where we use little lecturettes. And I say lecturettes because when we try to lecture to train adults, you are literally trying to barf on them and see what sticks. and it won't. If we just sit down as adults and get lectured, like learning lecture, I don't mean lecture like you're being reprimanded, but a learning lecture, you will walk out of that training. If that's all you get is lecture dumped on you, you will walk out of that training and you will forget 90% of what you learned in less than a week.
I was going to say, I was thinking you'd probably only retain 5 to 10%.
Yeah. And it's about 10% and it happens in less than a week. You forget what you were told. If we engage the learner, and we actually do like hands-on activities, group work, encourage discussion between the learners that we're guiding, they will retain up to 80% of the content for up to 6 months. So this is very hands-on activity-based learning is very effective for cold storage training, which essentially means I need this training, but I won't be using it for some time. So I need this training, but I won't use it for a month or I won't use it for 3 months. When it's activity-based, they will retain up to 80% for up to 6 months. So it's extremely effective. Whether it's cold storage or immediate use, activity-based learning is where we want to go. And then, the last piece of ERGA is apply. We want to see that the person can apply what we just taught them. And a lot of people think when you have to show me that you have applied, that you can apply the knowledge, that that's some sort of a test. And there is a negative connotation associated with tests for everybody because we've all had tests where you have to sit there and nobody can talk and you can't look up and eyes on your own paper and don't get caught cheating because you looked over at Johnny's answers. That nobody likes that. I just
that stresses out a lot of people.
100%. It stresses out people beyond belief. So we don't want to test as in write a test. I'm going to give you an example from my previous days. One of the things that I had to teach a group of employees on was how to use a blood pressure machine. Like you take your own blood pressure. And so first I had to learn this, but then I built a very hands-on interactive learning course. In order to see that they had actually learned what I taught them, to evaluate this, I actually paired them up and I asked them to make a checklist of how they take a blood pressure. And then they hung it on the wall. And as a large group, we all went back and reviewed everybody's checklist. Oh, this guy forgot to say no smoking before your blood test, or this guy forgot to say feet flat on the floor. This guy forgot to say, do it on your left arm. But then as a large group, we kind of corrected our lists and everybody walked out with a completed checklist of how to take their own blood pressure. And they learned how to do it. So it was very hands-on, and it was so hands-on that this is now 15 years later, and I still remember how to take my own blood pressure.
I was like, wow, I'm learning about how to take my blood pressure.
So that's a high level erga. I'm not expecting anybody to do that, but if you can remember to engage senses, make it as hands-on and as possible, that's awesome.
Is that why sometimes when I've been to, well, I remember teachers doing this when I was in high school or college, where they would throw a ball at you, like not hard, but like,
yeah,
if you were going to answer a question or they wanted you to answer a question, they would throw like a squishy ball at you.
It could be because it involves you, right? Like it involves you in the learning.
Yeah. It physically and mentally.
Yeah. And I've done that again in my past life when I was training, and we had reviewed a bunch of different, benefits of a certain product that we were expected to sell. And now as a group, I had a little Nerf ball and I got everybody to stand up in a circle, and you had to throw the ball. You had to say your benefit and then throw your ball to somebody, and nobody knew who the ball was getting thrown to. And then they had to say a benefit and then throw their ball. So it's out of the norm of traditional learning. So it kind of makes it easier to retain, right? Building blocks is another fantastic option for training. And this is where we're just going to teach you a little bit today. And then we're going to teach a little bit more tomorrow, and then the next day and the next. And so we're just building on, if it's a complex or longer subject, we're building on each day. So this really ties into micro learning.
I was going to say, I love micro learning, and I feel like it is so on trend right now with the short attention spans and people with TikTok, and the fact that we look at stories, and it's ingrained in us now.
Yeah, and you know what? Micro learning has truly been a learning trend for over a decade, and I remember again back in my corporate days, and we were a technology company. And I was pressing hard for them to implement micro learning. And I wanted to call it bits and bytes, like BYTES, like technology
so
bytes. Anyways, I could not for the life of me convince them that if we could just give our salespeople 5 minutes of training per day on a particular product, and maybe the product takes all week to learn, but it's 5 minutes a day. And the next day, they've now got 10 minutes of learning on that subject, and the next 15. And by the end of the week, they have 25 minutes on that product. They should be able to improve their sales.
And I feel like they're going to retain it better. It's like, this reminds me of whenever sales reps come into my store and they do a lunch and learn.
Yep.
I've seen which ones are successful and which ones aren't. Mm-hmm. And the ones that are successful are engaging, and it doesn't last more than 30 minutes.
Yes.
And so now I've gotten into the habit of saying, look, please keep this to 20 to 30 minutes. You go past that, they're not going to hear anything. You're just going to be wasting your time.
And I guess it depends on the format, I'm going to say. I'll tell you, when I became like a certified facilitator, and I literally do actually have formal education in being a facilitator. So that's why I say certified. But it ruined training for me everywhere. Ruined it. Because now I know what to look for. I know what makes effective adult learning. And I'll tell you right now, standing in front of a PowerPoint and reading the screen to me,
that's the worst.
Oh, it's so terrible. But also, there are so many things, like the facilitator who sits behind their desk in the corner, pointing to the screen in a dark room while everybody just sits there and basically gets lectured by a PowerPoint in effective learning. Group work. So many people hate group work. When you're a facilitator and you break people up into groups to do activities in the room, but it is so effective for retention. You will remember a discussion that we had in a group more so than you will ever remember a lecture from an instructor. So, because it's a story, right? We go back to storytelling. So, okay. I'm I'm too excited. I'm all over the place. Micro-learning. Micro-learning is those little daily drops of knowledge nuggets that we can give our team. And I just found the coolest little tool that I have already implemented with my team because I like peed my pants, right? The corporation that I worked for that would not buy into micro-learning because they did not want to spend the money. They didn't want to make the investment. They looked at it as an expense, not an investment in their people that would return in sales. And that is how we have to look at training. When you make that investment and you train your people, they will sell more. They can't help it. They know.
Okay. So this tool, you guys. So she messaged me at like 10 p.m. a couple nights ago, and I'm just at this point I'm vegged out on my couch, half asleep, and she's like, "Oh my God, look at this!" Blah 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 blah. I'm like, "Oh, well, I had a chance to look at it today, and I love it, and I'm hoping I can utilize it as well. I just love the structure of it. It's short, concise." And it's free for up to a certain amount of people, right?
Up to 10. You can have up to 10 seats. And here's the best part, you guys. It literally lives on the device that your employees carry around in their pocket every single day. So my team now is getting what I am referring to as their daily drops. So at actually, and I can't pick the time. So it actually comes in at midnight as soon as it turns to be, November 24th or whatever it is. Midnight, the drop comes. And the next day when they come into work, or if they're off that day and they still want to do their daily drop, it's like a 5-minute, here's how you talk about gently cooked. Here's what you need to know about ringing a customer through. Here's the questions you should be asking when a brand new pet parent comes in. I can create whatever I want for that daily drop. And it is learning something every single day.
And this app is called Safety Culture, by the way.
Yes, Safety Culture. Now, it used to be EdApp. EDAPP. But Safety Culture acquired EdApp for their training technology. So when you download Safety Culture, you do have to build your courses on the computer, but then they'll go out to your folks on their phones. You're going to see that you can do like safety assessments, inspections. There's a ton of stuff you can do in there. I'm using it for to-dos. So if there's a high priority to-do that I've assigned to an employee, it will be part of our safety culture. I'm not obviously doing safety inspections, but I guess you could if you wanted to.
But like we were talking about, like you could just do a quick one on green lip mussels for that day.
Yep. And I could literally grab my phone and I could do a quick little 30-second video, and then I can go back to my computer and I can load that in to be tomorrow's daily drop. And everybody knows about green lip mussels in a 30-second video. The beautiful thing about this, though, you guys, if you're like, I don't build training, I can't build training, they have an AI function or an AI tool within. So you basically say you want to create new training and you're going to use their AI tool to do it. And you put in a prompt. I need, a 60-second training course on why green lip mussels are effective for helping dogs and cats, joints or whatever it is. And then it goes bloop, in less than a minute. And you've got a course that you can tweak and publish.
Right. So and Carly just showed me how to do. I was like, it's going to take me forever to build out one every day. What are you talking about? But the AI component of this looks like it cuts down your time. Like it's going to take you less than 5 minutes to build one.
I literally, when I found the tool, I sat down and I banged out like 8 modules. And the reason that I stopped at 8, because I'm like, I could just keep going. But the reason that I stopped at 8 is because I'm like, well, I want to see how this is working with my team. I want to see, I want to really figure out how to use this tool. But so far, I am loving it. And it's fantastic for giving those daily little golden nuggets of information that my team can immediately go use and increase our sales. It is always an investment.
Hey, Carly, so I was just talking to Art from Aardvark Pet Products about the advantages indie stores get when they white label.
Ooh, spill the tea.
Well,
hey, I could do that.
Hey, Art, what are you doing here?
I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. All right. Here's the deal with our private label program. The independent retailer can take advantage of our low minimum order quantities so you don't have to tie up your cash flow. Plus, we'll put your logo on a custom label for free. There's no setup costs. Also, we'll give you a free UPC, and our turnaround time is super fast.
Okay, well, that's a lot of savings right there.
Yep. And the part that makes me proud of what we're doing is we're helping independent stores build their own brand and make more money doing it.
I love that you have the independent pet store's success in mind. Your products have grown my chew department exponentially. Plus, customers love seeing our name on products. It makes them feel like they're supporting local in a real way.
And honestly, it's nice just to have something different than what the big box guys carry.
Exactly. We're here to help the independent retailers compete with big brands.
Check out everything at artvarkpet.com. That's ARTVARK pet.com. And if you want a $600 design pack for free and to avoid those pesky setup fees, plus get 10% off your first order, be sure to mention the Pet Shop Girls sent you.
Bye, Art.
Bye-bye.
I also mentioned that, I use Discord. I think some people use Slack. I'm sure you could do it in there too. But I did a 30-second video of myself just talking in my car about gently cooked food because we are in our gently cooked month at Odyssey Pets. And I just wanted to reiterate to my staff, the selling points. And I threw that into Discord because I just didn't have a whole lot of time. But I bring this up because I feel like we all kind of stress out about creating a perfect, like you said, a perfect training platform. But I just want to encourage you guys and myself to keep just do what you can do. Yes. Because it's better than doing nothing.
Well, okay, here's the thing. So here's my analogy for that. If you wanted to train your staff on the floor, you're sitting there and you see that they struggle with gently cooked or talking about the benefits of gently cooked or whatever it is, would you go up to them and say, hang on, can you just stand there for a second, Johnny? I have to go fix my hair, do my makeup, put on some lipstick, change my outfit, and so that I'm looking polished and professional before I teach you about gently cooked? You would not.
And then here, let me read the script that I wrote on a sticky note.
Exactly, right? So the fact that you just grabbed your phone and went, hey guys, I just want to remind you this month we're doing gently cooked. I want you to know that this, these are my points. And it took you 30 seconds and you posted it into a group chat channel. That works as training because you would do the same thing on the floor if you were there, but you were out in your car and you still got the message and everybody gets to see it.
Right. What I like about your app, though, is that you can make a bunch of these and then schedule them.
Yes, and that's what I did. So I've got it scheduled for the next 8 days or whatever. But I want to go in and I want to see, and so of course I invited on my whole team there, and and I'm like, hey guys, this is your daily drop. So the first thing that I did on our daily drops is explain what the heck is a daily drop because we've never done this before. So that was my first kind of lesson is here's the whole idea behind daily drops. And then the next one was all about a biologically appropriate diet, just because I was like, why not? And then I do a sales tip like, hey, when we're working with customers, this is a really effective way to make sure that they understood what you said.
I also noticed that they had some pre-built ones too.
They do.
Like how to handle customer complaints.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They've got, I don't want to say thousands for sure, but I can't remember how many I saw, but it was a lot of already pre-built training that you could literally just send out as daily drops. And that's obviously not going to be specific to pet, but it is going to be specific probably to customer service or, working just regular skills.
Sure, they have a lot of retail. Yeah. Retail's retail.
So this is, we've talked about this a lot. And when our employees know more, they can educate our customers more. That education probably doesn't stop at that customer. You think about when you get customers coming in because of word of mouth. The more our employees know, the more they can share with our customers, the more our customers are going to talk to their friends and family.
Well, and the more knowledgeable a customer is, the more they purchase. if I'm not mistaken. So,
well, and here's the other benefit for store owners. The more your employees know, the less you have to be there. You know, when I can say to a customer, and they're like, well, when are you in again next? You can actually speak to anybody on my team. They all know what I know. That is liberating as a store owner because you are not tied to your store. As I am currently tied to my store without employees. But when I have a team there who is educated and knowledgeable and can talk about all the same things that I do with nutrition, I don't have to be there because they can do the talking. They can tell the customers all the benefits of gently cooked or bone broth or green lip mussels or whatever the customer needs to talk about.
I wanted to revisit something that Rodney actually said in our 100th episode with Rodney Habib, how he had his staff go on like dog walks with him, and he would use that time to train during the walk. And they're going to retain more of that information while they're doing something physical, like what we were saying before. But I loved that tip, and I just wanted to revisit that.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, that's in 50 Ways to Train Your Team. That is one of the, taking them out of that traditional learning environment. If we're looking at traditional learning environments, shameless plug here. You may or may not know, for years, Sherry can attest to this. She has heard the peeps. But for years, I've had pet pros asking me, like, how do your employees know the things you know? And I'm like, well, because I train them. And
it's because her training system is the most extensive thing I've ever seen. And I haven't seen the whole thing. She shows me bits and pieces and I'm like, wow.
But it's effective because then my team can talk about all of the things that I talk about, right? So when somebody comes in and says, my dog has IVDD, everyone on my team knows what the heck IVDD is because Zaner was misdiagnosed with it. And then I put together all of this information on IVDD so now when a customer comes in, my team knows exactly what to tell them. This is what we recommend. Here, you can look at this on our website. This is, so many people were asking me for my training and I finally have a way to do that for you. And the beautiful thing is, as of today, my foundation of nutrition training is actually on sale for Black Friday.
That is amazing. No, we've all been waiting for Carly's trainings to be published somewhere. And so she just published her first one on Brilliance, right?
On Brilliance, on Whizbang's platform. Yeah. So just very quickly, because I'm doing a shameless plug, I might as well get my full fill of it. So very quickly at a high level, you guys, what this covers is the foundation. So it is like Nutrition 101. It is about the industry. It is why dogs and cats are meatitarians. It is how to read a pet food label, 5 treats that we never recommend, who makes your pet food. Then we dive into the 10 different types of pet food out there. We actually even look at prescription pet food and how to talk to customers about it. All of my training is built from the perspective of how do I talk to my customer? So what do those conversations look like? What are the key words that my customers might use that would spark me? I don't know where twig is coming from. That would spark me to know what to talk about. But then the next segment of the course is all about whole food nutrition. So goat milk, bone broth, sardines, fish oils, blueberries, broccoli, you name it. We're talking about whole foods. Then I go into supplements, and I'm not talking about brands. I'm not talking about this specific brand. I'm talking about milk thistle as milk thistle. I'm talking about turmeric or ashwagandha or colloidal silver, just the effects and benefits of using those natural supplements. Once you've learned all of the whole food and all of the supplements, generically, not by brand, but specific to the actual supplement, then I talk about ailments. Now, when your customer comes in and says that my pet has parasites, you know what to recommend based on the supplement category, if you will, and you'll know which of your brands make olive leaf or which make ashwagandha or turmeric. And then I get into the pet food industry standards. So who the heck is AFCO and NRC and all that? Because We know that as pet pros, but your new employees may not. And so when somebody comes in and says, well, you're selling food that is not Wasava approved, your new employee is going to go, who the what? What now? I don't know what that means, but they will after this course. So the course is regularly $7.99, but it is 20% off right now for the Black Friday sale through Whizbang. So,
and once you buy it, you get it for life, right?
It is for life. Yeah, you don't lose access to that course. And so the way that it's done is you pay the $7.99 for the course, and then you buy a seat at $10 per seat for all of your employees. And that's the way that you can track them, and they do their tests and all of the things. So if you look at it like this, if you had 20 employees, you're going to pay $1,000, right? You're going to pay $800 for the course, $7.99. You're going to pay $1,000 for this course, but that's $100 per employee that you've just trained all of your employee on all of the things nutrition. And then if you get a new employee or 5 new employees down the road, it literally costs you $10 because you buy that course and it's yours for life. So it is the exact same training that I use with my own team. Like I literally just pulled my training out and built a course in Whizbang.
I just thought of an acronym for TWIG.
What?
Teaching while implementing goals.
Oh, that is why you twig people.
And I am not the acronym person. Carly is. You're rubbing off on me.
I'm just rubbing off on you. Yeah. So what we'll do is we will put a link, I guess, to the course in our show notes. So if this is something, I'm super proud of it. I mean, like I said, I've seen the results. And I'm not trying to sound conceited, you guys, but I love training and I love pet nutrition.
Carly
I combine the
so
two.
detailed. She's so detailed, you guys, that I can only imagine all the details she goes into in these courses. There's no way I could teach every single detail to my staff and have it stick. But she's created these beautiful PowerPoint slides with video too, implemented in with it. So it's really nice visuals as well. I'm really impressed.
I would say, thank you. But I would also say that you could actually stack this. If you did the Foundation to Nutrition, Pet Nutrition Training course through Whizbang, if you purchased that, and then you also implemented safety culture for daily drops, you literally could take like in the supplements course, right? I've kind of categorized the supplements by function. So if these 6 supplements reduce inflammation, they're kind of in that one category. But then you, as a store owner, could go, hey, today's daily drops on turmeric. And I'm gonna put together a quick little 30-second refresh on turmeric. You can go pull the information literally right out of the Whizbang course, plunk it in, and send your daily drop. And then the next day you can do olive leaf. The next day you could do ashwagandha, whatever.
I was talking to her earlier about figuring out how to sell us her daily drops so that we wouldn't have to make them. But that's a long time coming. So she'll probably have to make her own app. And if anybody wants to donate to Carly's app that she's gonna create. No, I'm just kidding. I was throwing around ideas. I think an app would be amazing.
It could be cool. I would definitely have to look into the logistics of it and how it would work. But yeah, I mean, I thought about that as I was building them out for my own team. And I thought, how cool would this be if I could literally have pet pros everywhere just subscribe to daily drops? I don't know what that would look like. But anyways, that is for another time and another place.
That's for another year, I guess.
Possibly 2026.
Yeah, that would be awesome. It'd be awesome.
Okay, well, and you know what? I think we did talk about it. Rodney talked about it. We've talked about our non-traditional creative ways to get people trained. It literally, you know what? You could go out for supper. That's what we always did for our staff meetings, is we would go, because I don't know if this is the same in the States or maybe even all across Canada, but in Saskatchewan anyways, I have to pay you for a minimum of 3 hours. So we would book.
Yeah. You told me that. No, that is not a thing in the States.
Oh, okay. So it's easier for you guys. So what we would do is we would kind of book a team meeting around supper, and we would go to a restaurant, and I would take my little whiteboards and my sticky notes and all the things, but implement training there, training over a meal or anything. It does not have to be a classroom environment. I just cannot stress that enough. If you guys do offer pack walks, or if you want to start pack walks as a training tool or anything, it doesn't have to be a classroom. So I think that's huge for people to remember. But at the end of the day, and we already talked about this a little bit, Sherry, is, building that culture of continuous learning.
Yes.
I love when my team is coming into our Discord channel at 9:30 at night going, oh my goodness, I just read this white paper on green lip muscles. What? But awesome, right? Because they obviously have interest, and they are so invested and involved in the mission of my business to support natural pet health that on their own time, they have an interest in reading white papers on green lip mussels. So
yeah, that's the goal, to get to that point.
Right. And the beautiful thing is that when they share that into our Discord channel, my whole team sees that. Like, oh, I can't believe that. Did you know? I mean, I don't know what they learned, right? There's not only green lip mussels, there's blue lip mussels too, or whatever. And here's the benefits. And they start talking about that in the Discord. Everybody's learning from that. That's not traditional, but everybody learned from that. So having that continuous learning culture. And remember, we've talked about this. I maybe not have said this since we started season 2. You create the culture in your business. So you make them drink the culture Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
Culture Kool-Aid, you remember? Yeah.
Yes.
But if your culture includes continuous learning,
which it should,
not an option. Exactly. And then it's not an option, right? The people who are not invested in continuous learning maybe aren't the best fit in your staff, like as part of your team. Because if they're like, I already learned about gently cooked when I started 6 months ago. Well, what's the difference between gently cooked and raw? Okay, so you don't actually know, right? So
right.
Yeah, learning isn't a one and done. Learning is, and it can be repetitive. Even if you learned about gently cooked 6 months ago, it doesn't mean you remember everything. So maybe you should refresh yourself.
Quick plug for retail.pet. Also a good tool to have in your back pocket. That's where most of the brand trainings are for the brands that are in our industry.
Yeah.
And that is free.
And it's free. Yeah, totally free, you guys. Here's the thing too. Like, I know that I went all over the place, and I should probably also get a t-shirt that says, here's my swear jar for talking about training when nobody asked. It's training and pet nutrition. Those are the two things that I can.
Unsolicited advice.
On how to train your team. But it definitely is a passion of mine, obviously, training and nutrition. And like I said, when I put the two together and I'm like, oh my God, now I get to build training on pet nutrition. How awesome is this? So you don't have to do all of these things, because we talked about a lot of things. And the Substack.
Right. That's what I'm worried that people are going to be overwhelmed.
Yeah, 100% they would be, especially if they're not used to it.
Because honestly, I'm still overwhelmed by implementing training. And yes, we have a training checklist and all that. But could I do better? Yes.
I just remembered, actually, we talked about that before we started. You just called it a training checklist. We talked about an onboarding and offboarding list.
Oh, yeah. So I have an onboarding, but I don't have an offboarding.
Mm-hmm. So maybe that is where our pet pros start. If you do not already have an onboarding and an offboarding checklist, that's where you could start. Mm-hmm. And here's why I say that, because that is kind of your foundation for how you will train your team. So our onboarding list is actually the employee's first week in my store. And that includes, they're going to watch the welcome video of me welcoming them to House of Paws. And then they're going to watch our health and safety video. And then they're going to watch our video on, here are the different tech tools that we use at House of Paws and why. That's the important piece. If I just say, well, we use this, and they're like, okay, who cares? But if I say we use this tool and here's why we use it. we use this tool so that we can communicate as a group, whatever, right? Or we use this tool so that we can track customers' frequent buyer bags, or we explain the why so that they can go, oh, okay. And then when they see it, it's not completely foreign to them. They're like, oh yeah, I learned about this in my training. And it's not all a bunch of videos, you guys, my onboarding, but the important piece about the onboarding is you can start to kind of map out what that first day, start with a day. It doesn't have to be a week. Start with the first day. What does that employee's first day look like? And use ChatGPT for that too. I want to create an onboarding list for my brand new employee. What are some ideas for that first day? But the important thing in there is you do have a bunch of different system and tools that you use in your store or in your shop or in your business. What are they? Because you have to give them access. The important piece about offboarding is you have to remove all that access. And that's why we have both, right? That's why we have an onboarding and
sometimes you have to do it quickly.
Sometimes you have to do it quickly. So maybe that's where people start, because you do not have to do everything. But the big takeaway is keeping training top of mind and looking for those opportunities to impart knowledge, to empower your employees, to empower your customer. In the Substack document, again, 50 ways to train your team will be there. However, I'm not expecting you to use all 50. I just want them to twig to twig your imagination to go, oh yeah, like we go for a walk as a team every Sunday morning or something. Maybe we should start actually talking about product or sales tips or procedures so that it becomes a teachable moment.
Right. Yay, learning.
Love our learning. Lull.
Oh gosh.
Laugh out loud.
Okay.
I've never ever typed that in my life, but learning.
Really?
Love our, never. I hate it.
LOL.
I put haha. Haha. When people would type me LOL when it first came out, I would send back lots of love.
I actually have to Google some of those. I'm like, what does that mean? I had to Google TBH not too long ago.
To be honest. See, I'm pretty hip to the groove, man.
Yeah, made me feel old that I have to Google that.
Hip to the jive.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, yeah, please don't get overwhelmed. If you can institute just something to teach your staff, to empower them, which will empower your customers and your community and help the lives of pets, ultimately, that's the goal.
Mm-hmm. And if you are looking for that extensive nutrition training, again, you guys, in some of my slides, you may see a couple of my brands, but I'm not talking about brands in this training. I am talking about nutrition, natural, holistic nutrition for cats and dogs. And so it can apply to any pet store who has that same kind of mission to improve the lives of animals through nutrition. That this course is for you. So stay tuned for more updates. But until next time, Pet Pros, bye-bye. All right, Pet Pro, that's it for this week.
Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe.
Just hit all the buttons.
And if you want more, join us in the Indie Insider, our private Facebook group for Pet Pros.
Then you'll never miss the podcast that makes you sit, stay, and beg for more. The Pet Shop Girls.
Pet Shop Girls.
You know, Sherry, when I first opened House of Paws, I was spending way too much time making documents that I needed from scratch. Employee handbooks, sales games, event planners, even little giveaways for customers.
I remember, and those weren't just nice to haves. They make your store run smoother and kept your customers coming back.
Exactly. Every document I created was because I needed it for my own store. And then I kept hearing from other pet pros, I wish I had something like that.
I said that too, and that's what I love. These aren't theory. They're used in a real store with real results. I use your event planner every month. And now any indie retailer can grab them, save time, add their logo, and use them too.
Right? So if you're tired of starting from a blank page, check out houseofpawspetpro.com and use promo code Pet Shop Girls to get 10% off your first order and see which documents can help you get your time back.
Carly, why did the Scarecrow become a pet store manager?
Because